When I say, today is my victory, I am not just repeating a nice phrase. I am making a declaration that carries power. The words that come out of our mouths are not empty. They are seeds planted into the soil of our future. When you rise in the morning and choose to declare victory instead of defeat, strength instead of weakness, faith instead of fear, you are changing the atmosphere of your life. Words create direction. They have the ability to lift us out of discouragement, to set us on a new path, to breathe hope into what feels hopeless. That is why this declaration, today is my victory, must be more than a thought. It must be a confession that comes from the depth of your spirit. Think about it. When you face the battles of life, whether it's a financial struggle, a broken relationship, an illness, or a dream that feels delayed, the easiest thing to do is to echo the problem. We say, I can't do this. I'll never overcome. This is too big for me. But those words do not move us forward. They chain us to the very things we want freedom from. Yet when you open your mouth and declare, today is my victory, you break that chain. You may not feel victorious at that moment, but you are speaking by faith, and faith always sees beyond the moment into the promise. Victory is not simply an outcome we wait for. It is a posture we choose. The greatest battles are often won before they are ever fought because they are settled in the heart and spoken with conviction. When you declare victory, you are aligning yourself with possibility instead of limitation. You are telling your mind to stop rehearsing defeat and start preparing for breakthrough. Some of you may say, but I've failed too many times. I've lost too much already. Friend, the power of your declaration is not canceled by your past. It is the declaration that creates your future. When you say, today is my victory, you are refusing to let yesterday define you. You are refusing to give authority to your scars, your setbacks, or your disappointments. You are choosing to believe that a new story is possible, and it begins right now, in this very moment. There is something deeply spiritual about speaking life into your situation. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can control what comes out of you. A heart that is full of doubt will speak defeat, but a heart that chooses faith will declare victory. And when you speak victory, even the smallest spark of belief can ignite a fire of courage within you. That courage will carry you through the valleys, through the storms, through the nights of tears, until you see the light of morning. Imagine facing your challenges like a warrior stepping onto a battlefield. Before the sword is lifted, before the first step is taken, victory is already declared. That is how champions live. They do not wait to celebrate until the trophy is in their hands. They celebrate in advance because they know the outcome is already settled. When you rise each day and say, today is my victory, you are stepping onto the battlefield with confidence, knowing that the fight may be long, but the outcome is secured. This is not a shallow optimism. This is a deep conviction that what you speak shapes what you see. It's the difference between going through life as a victim or as a victor. The victim says, why me? I'll never rise again. The victor says, why not me? Today I rise. Today I claim what is mine. One closes the door on possibility. The other opens the door to transformation. Let me remind you, victory does not always come in a single dramatic moment. Sometimes victory is in the small steps, the courage to get out of bed when you feel like giving up, the decision to forgive when bitterness wants to take root, the strength to try again when the world expects you to quit. Each declaration of victory is a building block, and over time, those blocks create a foundation so strong that no storm can wash it away. When you speak this truth, it changes how you walk, how you think, how you face people, how you approach challenges. You no longer walk with your head down, but with your head lifted. You no longer drag your feet in defeat, but you step forward with confidence. Every breath carries the rhythm of hope. Every word pushes back the darkness a little further, and every declaration makes room for the light of victory to shine brighter in your life. So never underestimate the power of your own words. They can either keep you bound or set you free. And today, if you choose to declare, today is my victory, you are stepping into freedom, into courage, into hope, You are telling the world and reminding yourself that defeat is not your story, victory is. Today is my victory. Every one of us has faced moments in life where the weight of struggle seems unbearable, where the setbacks come one after another, and it feels as though the ground beneath us is giving way. In those moments, it is tempting to believe that we have been defeated. But let me tell you something with all the conviction in my heart. Setbacks are not final, and struggles are not the end. They are the very soil in which victory is grown. Without battles, there can be no triumph. Without resistance, there can be no strength. When you look back at the hardest seasons of your life, you will realize that the very things you thought would destroy you were the things that shaped you, toughened you, and prepared you for what was ahead. Struggles are not your enemy. They are your trainers. They sharpen your mind. They harden your resolve. They polish your faith. You cannot become strong without pressure, just as you cannot produce gold without fire. Every victory you will ever celebrate is built upon the struggles you have endured and the setbacks you have overcome. We often want life to be smooth, free from obstacles, free from disappointment. But think about it, if every door opened easily, if every dream came without effort, if every mountain flattened before you, you would never know what you are capable of. You would never discover the depths of your courage or the heights of your faith. It is in the valley that we learn how to climb, and it is in the storm that we discover what anchors us. Every tear, every loss, every closed door has a purpose, and that purpose is to shape a victory bigger than you can see right now. Maybe today you are carrying the weight of failure, a dream that fell apart, a plan that didn't succeed. Perhaps you've been knocked down so many times that you wonder if you have the strength to rise again. Hear me clearly, your story is not defined by how many times you fall, but by how many times you rise. A setback is never permanent unless you decide to stay down. Each time you stand up again, you are not the same person who fell. You are stronger, wiser, more resilient. There is something powerful that happens when you refuse to let setbacks define you. You begin to see them not as roadblocks, but as detours guiding you to a better destination. You begin to see that the rejection that broke your heart may have been the protection that saved your future. You begin to understand that the pain you endured gave you empathy for others, that the struggle you survived gave you the strength to lead. Nothing is wasted when you choose to keep moving forward. Some of the greatest victories in life are born out of the deepest struggles. The man or woman who stands in triumph did not get there because life was easy. They got there because they fought when it was hard. They persevered when it would have been easier to quit. They believed when everything around them told them not to. Every scar you carry is proof that you fought a battle and survived. And if you survived that, you can survive this. Do not despise the days of difficulty. Do not curse the moments of setback. Instead, see them as your training ground. Each challenge you face is preparing you for a greater challenge ahead. Each loss you endure is teaching you how to value victory when it comes. Each battle that tests you is carving out a deeper strength inside of you. You are not being weakened. You are being forged into someone who can carry greater victories than you ever imagined. I know it's not easy to embrace this truth when you're in the middle of the fight, when the bills pile up, when the diagnosis comes, when the relationship crumbles. It's natural to feel defeated, but that's the moment you must remind yourself, this is not where my story ends. What feels like the end is often the beginning of something new. What looks like a dead end is often the setup for a breakthrough. Struggles are proof that you are on the journey toward victory. They mean you are pressing forward, stretching, growing, and moving beyond where you were yesterday. A life without struggle is a life without growth. A life without setbacks is a life without the depth of victory. So when the struggles come, and they will, choose not to see them as a sign of defeat, but as a signal that victory is on the horizon. Every time you refuse to give up, every time you push forward in the face of disappointment, every time you rise again after falling, you are declaring with your actions, today is my victory. And that declaration will never return empty, because the one who refuses to be defeated will always find victory waiting at the finish line. Today is my victory. Victory is not only about the battles we fight on the outside, it is about the battles we conquer on the inside. The truth is, many people lose long before they ever face their circumstances because they have surrendered within themselves. They allow doubt to whisper louder than faith, fear to rise higher than courage, and weakness to overshadow strength. But the greatest victories in life begin with what is happening in your heart, in your spirit, in your inner being. That is where true strength is born. There are moments when the weight of life feels impossible to carry, when the dream looks too far away, and the mountain seems too high. In those moments, it is not physical power that keeps you standing. It is inner strength. It is the quiet confidence that even though you may not see the way, there is a way. It is the unshakable belief that even when the night feels endless, the morning will come. That strength does not come from the applause of people or the ease of circumstances. It comes from faith. Faith in something greater than yourself. Faith that the struggles are shaping you. Faith that your story is not over. We cannot build that kind of strength overnight. It is forged in the unseen battles and the choices we make when no one else is watching. It is built every time we trust instead of panic, every time we believe instead of doubt, every time we stand firm when everything inside of us wants to collapse. Faith is the foundation, and inner strength is the fruit that grows from it. Without faith, we crumble at the first sign of adversity. With faith, we endure storms that should have destroyed us. Some people believe victory is about controlling everything in life, making sure every detail goes their way. But real victory is not found in control. It is found in surrender. It is the moment you release the burden of trying to carry everything on your own shoulders and place your trust in the one who gives strength when yours is gone. That surrender is not weakness. It is wisdom, because you realize that your own power has limits, but faith draws from a source without limits. And when you tap into that source, you discover strength you never knew you had. Think of the times when you felt like giving up, but somehow found the strength to take one more step, to say one more prayer, to keep holding on. That was not just willpower, that was faith at work inside of you, fueling you, lifting you, carrying you forward. You may not have even realized it at the time, but that unseen strength was proof that you are never alone in the fight, and that awareness alone is enough to turn despair into hope, weakness into courage, defeat into victory. The truth is, life will test what you are made of. It will bring challenges that strip away the surface and reveal the core. And what is at your core will determine whether you rise or fall. If at your core there is fear, you will crumble. If at your core there is bitterness, you will be broken. But if at your core there is faith, you will endure, you will rise, you will overcome. Because faith is not shaken by the storm. It stands firm in the storm. Faith says, even if the winds roar, even if the waves crash, I will not be moved. That kind of faith produces a strength that no enemy can defeat. This inner strength does not mean you will never feel weak, or that you will never cry, or that you will never struggle. It means that even in your weakness, there is something inside you that refuses to let go. Even in your tears, there is a light that keeps burning. Even in your struggle, there is a voice within you whispering, keep going. Victory is near. That is what separates those who give up from those who overcome. The willingness to listen to that voice of faith instead of the voice of fear. When you build your life on faith and draw from that well of inner strength, you will discover that you are capable of facing more than you ever imagined. The storms will come, but they will not drown you. The fires will burn, but they will not consume you. The trials will test you, but they will not destroy you. Because victory is not only about what happens around you, it is about what happens within you. And when you are strong on the inside, no power on the outside can defeat you. So let your faith rise higher than your fears. Let your inner strength shine brighter than your struggles. And let your heart declare with boldness that no matter what comes, you will not be shaken. Because with faith in your heart and strength in your spirit, You can stand tall in every battle and declare with confidence, "Today is my victory." Victory always begins in the mind. Long before you see it with your eyes, long before you hold it in your hands, you have to believe it in your thoughts. The way you think will either propel you toward triumph or hold you captive in defeat. A winning mindset is not something you stumble into by chance. It is a choice you make every day. You decide whether to focus on the obstacles or the opportunities, whether to dwell on the problems or look for the possibilities. The mind is a battlefield, and what you allow to live there will eventually shape the life you experience. So many people sabotage their own future because they walk around rehearsing defeat. They say things like, "I'll never be good enough. This dream is too far out of reach. People like me don't win." And the moment you allow those thoughts to dominate your mind, you've already lost the battle before you've even begun. But when you cultivate the mindset of a winner, you replace those lies with truth. You tell yourself, "I may not have it all yet, but I have what it takes to start. I may not know the entire path, but I know enough to take the next step. I may not be perfect, but I am capable, I am strong, and I am moving forward." That shift in thinking opens the door for victory to manifest in your life. It is not the circumstances that determine your success. It is your perspective. Two people can face the exact same challenge, and one will give up while the other will rise. What makes the difference? Mindset. One sees the problem as a wall, the other sees it as a doorway. One sees the struggle as a sign to quit, the other sees it as an invitation to grow. That is why it is so important to guard your thoughts. What you dwell on, you magnify. If you dwell on defeat, defeat will grow larger. But if you dwell on victory, victory will expand within you until it becomes the lens through which you see the world. The mindset of a winner is not about ignoring reality or pretending struggles don't exist. It is about choosing how you respond to them. A loser sees a mountain and says, "I can't climb that." A winner sees the same mountain and says, "This is my chance to grow stronger." A loser sees failure as the end, but a winner sees failure as a lesson. That perspective is what separates those who stay stuck from those who move forward. And the good news is you get to choose which mindset you adopt. The truth is, life will always present you with reasons to doubt, reasons to complain, reasons to quit. But you don't have to let those reasons control you. You have the power to train your mind just like you train your body. You can feed it with thoughts of faith, strength, and hope until victory becomes your natural reflex. When difficulties come, instead of saying, "Why me?" you begin to say, "Why not me? If I face this, I'll come out stronger. If I fight this, I'll discover what I'm made of. If I endure this, I'll have a testimony that no one can take from me." That is the language of a winner's mindset. Every great achievement begins with someone daring to think differently. Think of the men and women throughout history who overcame incredible odds. They were not stronger, richer, or luckier than everyone else. What they had was a mindset that refused to bow to fear. They saw beyond their current situation. They believed in what others could not see, and that belief carried them through. That same mindset is available to you. You don't need to wait for permission, and you don't need someone else to validate you. All you need is the courage to shift your perspective and declare, "I will not be defeated in my mind. I will think like a winner." When you live with that mindset, it changes the way you approach every day. You wake up with expectation instead of dread. You face challenges with hope instead of fear. You carry yourself with confidence instead of insecurity. And little by little, what you believe in your heart begins to show up in your life. Opportunities open, strength rises, victories unfold. Not because life became easier, but because you chose to see it differently. That is why the most important victory you can win is the one in your mind. Once you believe you are a victor, the rest of your life begins to align with that truth. The battles may not vanish, but they no longer intimidate you. The obstacles may not shrink, but they no longer stop you. Because the moment your mindset shifts, you have already crossed the finish line in your spirit. So decide today to think like a champion, to focus on possibilities instead of problems, to believe in victory even before it arrives. Because once your mind is set on winning, nothing in this world can keep you from stepping into the life you were meant to live. Today is my victory. So often when people talk about victory, they only see it as a destination. They picture the big moment, the medal around the neck, the trophy held high, the applause of the crowd. And while those moments are beautiful, true victory is not just found in those final celebrations. It is woven into the journey itself. Victory is in the growth you experience along the way, and it is in the gratitude you carry through every step of the process. Without growth, victory would feel empty. Without gratitude, victory would lose its meaning. Gratitude has a way of transforming even the smallest progress into something worth celebrating. When you can pause and thank God for the little victories, the strength to get through another day, the courage to keep moving when you wanted to quit, the lesson learned in failure, you begin to realize that every step forward is part of a greater triumph. Too often we overlook these moments because we are waiting for the big breakthrough, but the truth is, life itself is made up of small victories that build upon each other. And when you learn to be grateful for them, you'll see that you are already walking in victory long before the big celebration comes. Growth works in the same way. You may not see it happening immediately, but every challenge, every setback, every moment of perseverance is stretching you, shaping you, preparing you for more. A tree does not grow overnight, but day by day, with deep roots and steady nourishment, it becomes something strong and immovable. In the same way, your struggles are the soil from which your growth emerges. Every time you choose to learn instead of complain, every time you choose to rise instead of remain down, every time you choose to believe instead of despair, you are growing into the person who can carry greater victories with humility and strength. The danger comes when we only define victory by what we achieve externally. If the measure of success is only the promotion, the house, the recognition, then what happens when those things are delayed or don't come at all? Does that mean your life has no victory? Absolutely not. Real victory is deeper than material results. Real victory is when your heart can remain thankful in the middle of lack, when your spirit can remain strong in the face of adversity, when your character grows stronger, even as the world tries to pull you down. That is a victory no one can take away from you. Some of the most victorious people you will ever meet are not the ones with the most money, the biggest titles, or the loudest applause. They are the ones who learn to live with gratitude through every season. They are the ones who turn pain into wisdom, loss into compassion, and trials into testimonies. They may not have everything the world says defines success, but they carry a peace and a strength that shines brighter than any trophy. That is the fruit of gratitude and growth, and that is what makes victory meaningful. Gratitude also keeps pride in check. When the victories do come in visible ways, when the doors finally open and the world finally sees the results of your struggle, gratitude reminds you that you did not get here on your own. It was grace that carried you. It was strength beyond your own that sustained you. It was lessons learned in the valley that built the character to stand on the mountain. Gratitude gives perspective. It helps you celebrate the victory without becoming consumed by it, because you understand that the true treasure was not the applause, but the journey that shaped you along the way. And growth makes sure you are ready for what comes next. Because victory is not a one-time event, it is a continuous process. Each battle you overcome prepares you for the next one. Each lesson you learn equips you for greater responsibility. Growth is the evidence that you are not only living in victory, but building a life that can sustain it. And when gratitude and growth walk hand in hand, victory becomes more than a fleeting moment. It becomes a lifestyle. So let us not wait for the big finish to celebrate. Let us not overlook the small daily victories that are happening right in front of us. Be grateful for the strength that kept you moving, for the faith that carried you through, for the growth that came out of the trial. Because when you learn to see life through the lens of gratitude and growth, you will realize that victory is not just at the end of the road. It is every step along the way. Today is my victory. Victory is not meant to be a single event you wait for at the end of a long road. It is not only that moment when the breakthrough comes or when the dream finally unfolds. True victory is meant to be lived every single day. It is a daily choice, a daily posture, a daily decision to rise, to believe, to fight, and to walk in the confidence that your life has purpose. Too many people put their hope on the horizon, thinking, one day I'll be victorious, one day I'll feel strong, one day I'll be free. But if you are always waiting for that day, you miss the truth that victory is already available to you in this very moment. Every day when you wake up, you have a choice. You can choose to carry the weight of yesterday's failures, regrets, and disappointments, or you can choose to step into today with fresh faith and determination. Victory is not about what happened yesterday, and it's not about what may come tomorrow. It is about declaring, today I will live as a victor. Today I will not be bound by fear. Today I will not be crushed by worry. Today I will walk in strength and confidence. That daily choice, repeated over and over, builds a life that is marked by victory. Living in daily victory does not mean life will suddenly become easy or free of challenges. The storms will still come, the mountains will still stand tall, the valleys will still test your endurance. But victory is not about the absence of battles, it is about how you carry yourself through them. When you live in daily victory, you no longer wait until the fight is over to celebrate. You celebrate in the middle of it because you know the outcome is already secured. You no longer let the size of the challenge intimidate you because your confidence does not rest in circumstances, but in your unshakable spirit. There is a freedom that comes with living this way. Instead of being held hostage by fear of the future or guilt from the past, you learn to embrace the present. You understand that every breath, every step, every moment is a gift and an opportunity to live victoriously. Even when the circumstances around you are not what you hoped for, your heart can still be at peace. Even when doors seem slow to open, your spirit can still be confident, because victory is not just something you wait to possess. It is something you choose to live in right now. And it is in the small things that daily victory is most evident. The strength to forgive someone who wronged you. The courage to try again after failing. The discipline to keep pursuing your goals when no one is cheering for you. The resilience to rise from bed on the days when discouragement feels heavier than hope. Those moments may not look dramatic to the world, but they are victories every time you choose to do what is right instead of what is easy. Every time you choose to move forward instead of staying stuck. Every time you choose to believe instead of doubt. You are living in victory. Over time, these daily decisions shape your life. They create a momentum of strength, resilience, and hope that no obstacle can stop. One day you will look back and realize that what seemed like small steps were actually great leaps. What felt like minor victories were actually the building blocks of a life lived in triumph. That is why it is so important not to wait for some distant milestone before you claim victory. If you can live it daily, you will discover that the greatest victory is not found in a single event, but in a lifestyle that continually declares, I am more than a conqueror today. A daily victory also influences those around you. People watch how you live. They see whether you crumble under pressure or whether you walk through trials with faith and strength. Your daily victories inspire others to believe that they too can overcome. You may not realize it, but your courage to live in victory today could be the spark that ignites hope in someone else tomorrow. And that is the beauty of living this way. Your victory does not stay with you. It multiplies in the lives of others. So don't wait for a perfect day to begin living victoriously. Don't wait for everything to fall into place before you celebrate who you are becoming. Each day is an opportunity to declare, I will walk in strength. I will stand in faith. I will live in victory. And when you string enough of those days together, you will find that your entire life is marked not by defeat, but by triumph. Because victory was never meant to be a one-time celebration. It was meant to be a daily reality. Today is my victory.